Hello, good day, and thank you very much for tuning in. My name is Jega, and this
My
is
name is Cheryl. We are so excited to be here today, right? To talk
yeah,
about homeschooling and remote learning, right? It's exciting times, especially with the pandemic happening now, right,
that's
Jega?
right, yeah. So, just a bit of my background. I'm a corporate trainer, but more than that, I'm a father, and I have a family. And my kids, I have two children, a girl and a boy. They are 17 and 15. And my background is my wife and I have homeschooled them from the beginning. We've been homeschooling them, and right now they're preparing for their IGCSE exams.
Interesting times for you.
Oh yeah,
Well, I'm Cheryl Witha. I'm an educator and I run impact projects via this organization called Live As You Rise. I run my web live shows, Me series, as well as almost graduate shows. I'm super excited about education. And I have a 3-year-old. I'm a mummy as well, very new at it. There's no teaching manuals on that, it's a bit hard. And I'm kind of trying to figure out and this whole idea of homeschooling
yeah.
and where we are today, right? The idea of homeschooling to me is very, very intriguing. And I'm so excited to learn from Jega as well. I mean, what is that back scene of homeschooling? What really happens, right? Is it really as scary as people put it out to be, or is it as liberating? I think today we're going to talk about all these things,
Yeah.
especially with the pandemic, right? How we all kind of forced to do homeschooling, whether you like it or not.
Yeah, now they don't have a choice. You see, at the time when we started, when we talked about homeschooling, and some of them asked, "Are you sure?" You know, right now they are asking, how could we go about homeschooling? And if someone says, "I'm sending my kids to school," and they say, "Are you sure?" you know, so
It's the other way around, right?
it's
The
the
way
other way
things have
around.
changed.
Correct.
Maybe, Jega, you can tell us a little about when you started this homeschooling journey, because the way you're saying it, it's at a time where you have no idea. You have to kind of like feel your way through it. There's not
Yeah.
much resources. So how was it like when you started, and when was it that you started this whole journey of wanting to take your kids into this whole system of homeschooling?
Okay. So before I continue, I want to give credit to my wife, Vanisri. Homeschooling is a couple decision. So she and I have an equal commitment to homeschooling. And what we did was, it started way back when we were even dating, before we even got married. And we were exposed to the idea from another friend who was doing homeschooling. And we kind of liked that idea. So after we got married, and then we said, okay, yeah, homeschooling. We'll think about it later when we have children. And then we had a child. But then we said, okay, we have another 7 years or 6 years. Let's figure it out later. And then, the 6 years became 5 years, 4 years, 3 years. And then when it came to 1 year, we said, okay, now we need to
Have to
make a
decide.
decision. And I would admit, in the beginning, it was not that clear. It was confusing. It was. We had an intention. Our intention was very strong. We wanted to do it,
Yeah.
but the fear of doing it,
The how, right?
it was still there.
Yeah.
It was very much still there. But the good thing is, you see, today you don't have to worry so much, because there are so many homeschoolers out there. There are parents who have homeschooled their kids, and the kids are today working adults who also have family.
Yeah.
So we already have people who have walked the road before us, and we could learn from them. So I had my wife and I, we had this great couple, KV Soon and yes. Oh man, I'm trying to
Yeah.
okay. Wiling, okay.
Wiling.
KV and Wiling. So both of them were very monumental, because they have been homeschooling their kids for several years. And when we went and saw them, and we asked about homeschooling, and they were the most relaxed couple when it came to homeschooling.
Very chill, huh?
Yeah, very chill. And I'm asking, like, but what about this subject? What about this subject? How do you do this subject? And because, see, I came from both of us probably came from the academic
Yeah.
world, where
Education side.
education,
This is the way.
that's the way. And when you don't get an A, you have to explain.
You're in trouble.
Yeah. And when you got an A, it's like, okay, good. You know.
And we're Asians, right? And we have 100. Why do you get 98?
Yeah, why did you get 98? So, and the biggest opposition was from my mom and my mother-in-law. My father-in-law was cool about it. My dad passed away a long time ago,
Yeah.
but my father-in-law was cool about it. But my both grandmothers were not cool about
Not too
it.
happy about it, huh?
Yeah, because it's new.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
something that is not known. So, but we had earlier support from very trusted friends, and they were just one of them. There were many other families that we could speak to at that point.
So would you say that support system is one of the most crucial things when you're starting something like homeschooling?
Very much, because why? Okay, let's put it this way. You can get all the information that you want. Like what you said about your 3-year-old, you don't have a manual. It's experiential learning. We put in the
Yes,
corporate terms,
yes.
it's an experiential,
Experiential
learning.
learning.
No matter how much information you find out about homeschooling, and no matter how much you're prepared, that journey of homeschooling is something that you will discover. It's a
Yeah,
day-to-day
yeah.
discovery.
That's true.
But you think about it, even when you go to school, it's the same thing. Sometimes you see parents, I've done all things for my kids and all that, but why is he being delinquent? Why is he not
Yeah.
going to classes properly? Hey, I have a discipline issue. So it's not homeschooling or going to school. Children is a constant discovery process. It's just that it gets amplified because when you do homeschooling, now you think, oh, homeschooling is the reason why they're different.
Yeah.
They are all different. I mean, think about it. You have seen them.
But what I think a lot of viewers might want to know, right, guys, especially people who haven't started this journey or maybe are intrigued, want to know more about it, is what is homeschooling actually, right? Is it, you see, a lot of homeschooling, I mean, the traditional notion is, okay, Jega, you and your wife, you sit at home, one of you take care of that role of homeschooling, you teach them. So it's very independent in a sense, right? They both learn, and as they grow up, they're kind of self-directed in a sense. Then there's this other notion of homeschooling that I've heard, right? You go to like little tuition centers, and that's also considered homeschooling. And nowadays you got like big like schools that they also call home. So what is homeschooling? Is those considered homeschooling, or
Okay.
It's confusing.
It is. It is. It's as confusing as anyone calls it a cafe, and you go that. No, my idea of cafe is
It's
not like this,
different. Yes,
right?
yes.
So, uh, personally, I feel some things about homeschooling, and this is just my definition because there isn't a body out there to certify what a homeschooling is all about.
It
It's
has
not.
to fit by this definition. No,
Yeah,
right? There
it's not
isn't,
like the
right?
academic thing,
Yeah, yeah.
right?
Again, right?
Yeah. So, our understanding of homeschooling is if it's done at home, that's homeschooling. If it's sent to a center, that's a different form of schooling. We can call it a private school or
Yeah.
what. So the what I think we should be talking today is about not the private school, not the learning centers that you send to, because I feel a learning center and a private school or international school, they all fall under similar categories, just a little bit different.
Yeah. Just
Uh,
the naming is different,
Naming
right?
is different.
Yeah.
You're paying a fee somewhere.
Yeah.
Our understanding of homeschooling is the bulk of the learning is actually done at home. So you may send them to a center on areas where you're not
Specific
a
areas. You're not an expert,
expert,
right?
like what
Like we were talking earlier, right? About
additional
like
maths,
science related. Like maybe
science.
you're not good at, I mean, maths, please. I'm sorry, guys. I'm from mass com, so it's generally known. Generalized statement. I'm not good at maths. Yeah. Like I can't teach my daughter. I mean, 1 plus 2, that
Yeah,
one I
that's
know
fine.
lah,
That's
but
fine.
algebra, those kind of things. Then I guess you source out, you get someone to come and teach, or you
Correct.
send them out,
Yep.
right? But
So
other than
those
that,
things you can do that. You can get some help on certain areas. But the whole idea of homeschooling is the mistake that most people do is they try to reenact or recreate a school at home, and this is the biggest problem. You're not supposed to be doing
so
that.
so what do you mean by that, Jiga, when you say they try to reenact? Do you think it's because of our, you already have that academic mindset, right?
Yeah.
That, oh, this is what school means, this is what education means. So are you saying that they're talking about syllabus in school, you're also creating that syllabus, like maybe you're coming up on a like, oh, for this year one, they have to do this. Do you mean it in that way?
That's right. It's like a timetable thing. So the whole idea of homeschooling is about allowing the child to explore.
Yeah.
So I like the late was it Ken Robinson,
Yeah.
Sir Ken Robinson, who recently passed away.
Yeah, yeah.
And he gave one analogy is about if you judge a fish from its ability to climb a tree, the fish would have failed that exam.
Yeah.
So the question is, why is that the children? I mean, who put that rule that by the age of 8, these are the competencies they must have? By the age of 15, these are the competencies they must have. The real question is that my personal experience in
Yeah.
studying in school, this happened to me is when I was in Form 5, and that's like what grade 6, about grade 8 or grade 10. So when I was at that level and I was trying to understand the maths, and the maths was so difficult, but then I realized that a few years ago the maths is right now making sense. It's so easy. So I
Yeah.
used to have this question: why didn't they just move the syllabus from the 15-year-old to the 17-year-old? It would have been much more easier.
Yeah. Like when you are able, it's like that saying, right? When the student is ready, the master will appear, right?
Yes.
Like there is a time for everything when your mind kind of opens up. It's like I don't know if you guys have ever read a book before, and when you read it, you have no clue what you're reading, and then maybe a few years later, or down the road, you read it and you're like, huh, how come I didn't see that?
Right.
Right? I mean,
Yep.
it's that kind of a notion, right?
Yes. So it's the whole idea of homeschooling is just let the kids explore. And personally, for us, what we believe is that I think until the age of 12, Pythagoras theorem. If I ask any one of them who's watching this, what is the Pythagoras theorem?
Don't ask me now, please.
But today, if you want to find out about Pythagoras theorem,
Yes.
Google it. You'll find out.
Yeah, There's
Uh,
amazing resources out there, right? Like
That's
I think you were
amazing.
mentioning Khan Academy. I mean, even YouTube, right? There's amazing resources where you can find the easiest way to learn something.
Yeah, correct. So the idea of this homeschooling is, first of all, homeschooling is not about preparing them for a future that we think they should have. The whole idea of homeschooling is allowing them to explore for them to discover what they want to do, what they are special at. This is the thing about kids. you're having a 3-year-old. This is really nice because
Exciting times.
exciting times. You see how you were just we were just sharing just now.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
said she was what she learned through music.
Yeah, she loves music. I mean, lucky she's not here, right? She'd be very noisy singing happy birthday, ABCD, name it. She's like, just turn her on and she doesn't switch off. She loves music. She sings. And
Right.
she learns through that.
Okay, what did she learn when she was playing?
She learns colors.
Okay.
She has learned numbers.
Right.
And like me, I mean, anyone who knows me, I mean, you've just met me, but I'm like this huge ball of energy. And I can be hyperactive till like 12, 2 a.m. in the morning.
Yeah,
even though I've
I
worked
saw
the
that
whole
in
day.
LinkedIn. Even on text, I saw it.
Right? I'm very hyperactive. So imagine my daughter, right? My husband is very reserved. So I think maybe that will help the balance a little, right? So she's very excited. So even things like for me, how I teach her, right? Even, I mean, generally being an educator itself, you become very fussy.
Mhm.
Like, and I've taught in like a kindergarten as well, and I've seen how they teach. I don't like it. I'm sorry, right? But I don't like some of the ways they teach. I've not been through all, so I can't make judgment. But from what I've seen, I don't like it, right? So for me, so far, she's not gone to any form of formal education. She hasn't gone to kindergarten yet. She's like 3.5 now, and she's 3 plus, like three. Just walking up the stairs,
Okay.
I will sing songs. That's how
Okay.
she learned to count.
Right.
Walking up the stairs,
Okay.
I'll be like, here's number 1, here's number 2, and here's number 3, and things like that. So moving on, we are looking at how they're actually building on it.
Okay. All right. So now the question is this: when you looked at the kids and how they were learning, you notice that they were learning through discovery,
Yeah.
through what they wanted to do and all. So the thing is this: we want them to go and discover how they want to learn. So let's bring that topic right now to how homeschooling is being done right now, because
Yeah.
right now we have a situation where people were following some academic line,
Yeah.
and
Structured.
now they are forced to do the homeschooling. So what we spoke just now is about if
Forced
you're looking
homeschooling.
to do homeschooling from a general perspective, but today we are in a situation where they are forced to go into
Yeah.
homeschooling.
I mean, maybe they were intrigued with the idea,
Mhm.
but they never knew, like, suddenly, like, okay, now you have to do it. You have no choice. Schools are closed.
Okay.
Do it. Figure it out yourself. They didn't have time to kind of figure it out, slowly
That's
plan. Like, I mean, you got amazing lead time, right? So they didn't. COVID happened and everyone became a
Homeschooler. So firstly, I would say, first, don't try teaching them. Give up. Don't even attempt. Don't even go close to them. But put that discovery mode. There's two resources that my wife and I have. Actually, we introduced, the children used it more. One is called Khan Academy.
Yeah.
Khan Academy, it's magical. I mean, it's like the way of learning is so gamified over there. Everything has a video, and they can actually watch the videos and learn from those videos.
And they simplify the concepts that makes it very easy, right?
Yes, but I
Really
just give
simplify.
a bit of a warning on that, is that it's a more American way of explaining. So if you come from a British background, you may have a little bit of thing of the terminology used, but that's not a big deal. They can pick it up and all. And one thing good about it is it's very gamified. So when you say gamified, is that they have to get 6 correct in a row before they
Proceed.
to the next level. So
Okay.
that forces them to want to learn. That
Yeah.
forces them wanting to discover stuff in that. The other one is something called code.org to learn about coding. Coding is another thing. But coming back to the academic thing, is that I feel one of the thing is schools have gone into using online platforms to learn.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like we are using Blackboard here. I mean, in Inti, right? We're using Blackboard. Of course, our kids are not kids. We are looking at tertiary education, right? But talking about online remote learning, right? How do parents now that are so used to a teacher kind of teaching,
Mhm.
suddenly now it's on their plate, right? Completely. And we are talking about not just they are learning, they're having to teach their kids, but also now they have to work from home, some of them. So they have to teach their kids and then they have to work from home, and they're all in that same space.
Mhm.
And looking at the cases, I'm hoping it doesn't go higher.
I hope.
But there's a chance that we might have to return back to that situation, right?
Right.
So how would you homeschool in this situation? It's not the typical situation, right?
Yes.
So, I mean, you have been through homeschooling, and I'm sure there's a lot of things you have learned, right? The struggles and stuff like that. What advice can you give parents, like, if they're struggling with this right now? What are some tips that can help them kind of, you know, don't have to go through as many struggles as you, because maybe you have eyes in regards to what has already happened, right?
Yep,
How
correct.
can we kind of guide them? What is a better way?
Okay, I think this one is, there's two parts here. One is the student transformation, other one is the teacher's transformation.
Yeah.
First of all, do not put too much pressure on the teachers. This is something that I ask from all parents today, is that stop blaming the school, stop blaming the teachers are not doing this.
A lot of that going on.
Yeah, a lot of that going on. Is that, first of all, the teachers are not ready for this. This thing
Yeah.
suddenly just came about.
Pop.
And
you have to react
yeah,
and
so
respond, right?
I think I want to maybe more than the parents. I think I would like to talk to the teachers, is that some of them are doing some things right now. What they do is they just give them the content and ask them to read and explore and all. And I think that's the only thing you can do at this point, because the choice of platforms that is being used. My challenge with platforms is this: they are trying to do classroom
Exactly.
within that platform.
Yeah.
You can't do that. That's like, because in a classroom
You're just transferring. It doesn't work
it doesn't
that way.
work that way.
You need to customize it accordingly,
That's right.
according to the platform. You see, you have some platforms like a platform we use, Blackboard. You can only see maximum 4 people on the screen.
Okay.
So imagine for the teacher, if you're not someone who can imagine your audience, imagine you're doing a training
Yep.
and you're talking to no one. So, or you talk to 1 or 2 people, and not all kids are used to the idea of switching on your camera, right?
That's right.
And maybe I'm at home, maybe I'm using my pajamas, I don't want to show, or maybe my situation of my living, right? It's also people are struggling with the living space. Some people don't have that quiet space to do classes as well.
Mhm.
So now you're looking at all these elements coming together and you're trying to teach them.
Okay.
And it's not easy for the teacher, as you mentioned, right? But not easy for the student as well, right? It's a new experience for everybody.
Okay.
So how do they kind of what would you suggest? Something that that maybe you have done that works well.
Okay. What
Because
I
you train as well, right?
Yeah, I train. What I think would be a useful approach today is that for teachers, don't try to do what you've been doing in the classroom. First of all.
First point, guys,
First
very
point.
important.
Don't
I
do
agree.
that, because you are limited. See, in a classroom, the what you call it, the spectrum of learning is so wide.
Yeah.
You have so many modalities to touch.
Yes.
You can see facial expression, and that guy is confused. You can see
Easy for you to gauge how much they know, how much they don't know.
and all.
But if you don't get feedback or you don't know what's going on, you're
Correct.
just blindly. It's like being in the dark, right?
Yeah, you do not know. And like what you said, Blackboard is 4, and if you use Microsoft Teams, is what, 9 right now. I
Yeah.
think that 9 or 12, I'm not sure. But if you use Zoom, and some people are okay with Zoom, some not okay, at least you get to see every one of them.
The good part is Zoom, you can see people, right?
You can
But
see
it also
people.
has its limitations. Yeah.
Every
Like
platform.
every platform.
Every
correct.
platform. Because what's happening in an online space, the modalities are in a very narrow
Yeah.
band of spectrum. I mean, just like this. If this was a live event,
Yeah.
you would feel very different.
Yes.
First, we will feel different. I mean,
And you can feel our energy, right?
that's right.
So we are feeding off.
There's
you
a lot
guys
of
can't
energy
see,
over
but
there,
We have production. We have all our lovely production people here, and we can feel their energy at least,
Yeah.
right? So that's helping us feed off that energy. Yeah.
So now that we have to just assume that you are excited looking at us. All right. But the thing is,
You're all excited, right?
I mean, with your kind of energy, they will definitely be excited. Okay. So the way of teaching right now is
Yeah.
there is the purpose of the platform is to download.
Yeah.
Okay. It's download. Let's just not kid ourselves. The purpose of platform is to download information.
Learning management system, LMS.
Yeah,
It's just to
LMS.
download. That's it. Yeah.
That's right.
Or put something there. You can
For
access
them
it.
to access
But
it.
it shouldn't be used as a teaching tool.
That's not the
Yes.
only teaching tool.
Yes.
But the other thing is the word that you used just now. In a classroom, we have a feedback.
Yes.
Okay, we have
Yeah.
feedback. You need to figure out the feedback mechanics.
Yes.
So the feedback mechanics, let's talk about Pythagoras. I just saw one of the comment that is Pythagoras theorem is 3.14. No, that's pi. That's not Pythagoras. That's pi. But you see, even adults
Yeah.
get that wrong. But so what? You can just Google that and find out right now.
Yeah.
But you talk about the feedback is
Yeah.
that do the download, Give them some short assignment. Guys, do this and send it back to me.
Yeah.
Take a photo and send it back to me. If you
Yeah.
have a proper platform, great. But if you are using technologies like WhatsApp or emails or what, because I don't know, different parts of the world, they have different kinds of access. So let them send that back. And when the teacher can identify who got it, who did not get it, and for those who did not get it, you may want to just have another session with them, call them and find out whether they could
And
figure
I think
that out.
language is important as well, right? Instead of saying like anyone don't understand, when you say anyone doesn't understand,
Yeah.
it's like singles me out. If I say like, hey, I don't understand, it makes me. So we have to also change the way we ask questions, right?
Yep.
Like, eh, name people.
Mhm.
Name people when you speak to them online instead of just blindly generally talking about it, because I think there is also different areas of online platforms where you can engage, right? So what I have tried to do with my students, for example, is like, okay, you have like raise your hands, you
Mhm.
have clap. So I'll ask them like, okay, those who don't understand, please raise your hands.
Oh, but
In the
I have
system.
a question.
Yeah.
For your case, you say like a teacher is limited, the class maybe about 30 or 40 people. In your case, sometimes lectures can be really huge. How big is a class in your online?
So far for this semester, I have about up to 40.
40. Okay.
Yeah.
So 40 is
Yeah.
still fine.
But some of them have 200.
Oh, that's the thing. I'm more interested in that the teachers
Yeah,
have 200 because my wife is attending a master's program right
Yes.
now,
Yes.
and it's all fully online. And what's happening is that, but that's at a certain level there
Yes. Yes.
where you can lecture longer and you can get something there. But I've noticed one thing the lecturer does: he stops in between and asks questions.
Yes. I mean, the whole idea, I think, that works best for online learning, right? Or remote learning, we call it, is that we focus on specifics in that module instead of, you see, like you want to learn history. Don't go into class and then you do a long 2-hour lecture and then expect them to take in that information. It doesn't work that way.
Right.
Unless you have this crazy amount of energy where you can, but even then you need to kind of, like you said, pull it in, bring it back, do some activities in between. I think that hands-on learning aspect needs to be there online. So for me to test you, do you actually understand that, right? Do you actually understand this element of it? So how do I test it? You can use games. There's so many external platforms you can use when using these platforms. Like I love using Padlet, so use an external application.
Okay.
You show it on the screen, you can see everyone give feedback at the same time. So chat sometimes is very hard to see, right? You see the thing going down, you might miss certain things, or even like comments. But if you put it on one platform like that, it's like everyone using the whiteboard at the same time. And they can put in like kids like things which are fun, right? Like you said, gamification. Even 17, 18, 19, 20-year-olds that I teach, I mean, even I like fun. So if you add in like where they can put their expression, their understanding using a GIF, for example, so that if they're excited, they can put a GIF that goes like, they'll be excited, right?
Yep.
So adding those elements where they can share a short video, that also helps, for example.
Okay.
Right?
So I guess bottom line is this: you want to still have. I think the only thing you need to recreate in the online platform is the conversation.
Yes.
That conversation has to continuously happen.
And meaningful conversation, right? It's not just about dishing out information.
Yep.
I think we understood that about the whole idea of schooling. I think we need to unschool.
That's another term they use for homeschooling.
Yes.
Which is called unschooling.
Unschooling.
So I empathize with the parents and all, and I think one of the things is that I feel for educators. Now this goes to those district educators, officers, and all. I think we should accept the fact that you cannot complete the syllabus.
Yeah.
And you know what?
Not in the same way. We
Not
have
in the
always,
same way.
Yeah.
And I
Be
question
open,
this:
be flexible.
what if 1 year everyone who is 14 are learning 13-year-old syllabus?
Yeah.
So what? What are we rushing against?
Yeah.
This pandemic has slowed everything down.
The idea of learning should change. It should be about actual learning.
Yeah.
Right. So I think at the end of the day, right now we are actually at the end of our segment, right? I think if any parents need any help, maybe you can reach out to Jega for the kids in terms of the homeschooling. If you need help in terms of online learning, remote learning, especially looking at the older kids, reach out to me, Cheryl Witha, on LinkedIn. Both of us on LinkedIn. You can look for us. Just look for my hair. You can find me, and my very unique name, Witha. All right, and maybe we can take this conversation offline and discuss further. Actually,
Yep.
I think I need to bring you on my show, Jega, to talk about homeschooling.
Happy to do that.
I think this is a conversation that needs to be talked about more.
All right.
So Thank you very much to everyone. We're
Thank
so
you.
happy to be here. Yeah.
Yep. Right. Thank you, guys. Thank you for joining in.
Bye, guys.
It began with a bold vision to build KL Metropolis, a development that would establish a new international trade and exhibition district in Malaysia, built in partnership with the government by NASA Group's property arm, NASA TTDI. The crown jewel of this grand vision is the Malaysia International Trade and Exhibition Center, the preferred international destination for exhibitions and events. Like the fine gold and silver threads of the Songket weave that inspired its facade design, MyTech is the embodiment of refined craftsmanship, creativity, and precision. As Malaysia's largest exhibition center, MyTech's functional spaces are unprecedented. Primed for exceptional displays, surrounded by state-of-the-art facilities and amenities. This iconic structure affirms a commitment to innovative excellence. It is a showpiece of engineering ingenuity. An enduring icon built for a new Malaysian era of success.